What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video on Pure Panorama. We are driving in the truck, and there is a reason for that. I don't want to just talk your ears off and bore you to death, but I do have a camera on the gauges right now, and we are monitoring the performance of the truck through the gauges as I drive home from work, because the road that I drive home on is it's a good long straight road with no stops, so the truck just continuously gets to work, but there's plenty of big hills and really steep grades that I have to travel up, and I want to monitor the gauges like in live time with you right now, but also have the camera catching it as well, so that I probably should have got fuel while I was back there. But anyways, I can make it to the next station. But like I said, I want to monitor the gauges and talk to you through the camera, and have the camera over here attached to the driver's side window, getting some footage of them so that you can actually see what they're doing while I see it, and we can go over some stuff. So we are going to go ahead and kind of see what happens on this first hill right here, because we are coming up on the first of, I think, 3 major hills. So we are at the base of it right now, and what we want to pay attention to is the boost. I already know is going to peg out at 20, because the stock HY35s are set from the factory to go to 20 pounds of boost. But we're going to watch the EGTs and how fast they climb. They're at 600 right now. So they've already jumped up to 800, 900. And I'm still cruising right at 60 miles an hour. They're getting, they're just shy of 1,000 right now. They're at like 990 right now, 980, I should say. 1,000. We just hit 1,000, and we're about to be at the top of the hill. Okay, so that wasn't really that bad. It jumped up to 1,000 degrees, but it didn't get up there around 1,200 or anything, and I was able to stay in it and maintain my speed of 60. I actually increased the speed to 65, so we gained 5 miles per hour up that hill. But we are going to come up, the very last hill that I have to go up is going to be a lot steeper and longer than that one we just went up, so that'll be a pretty good test. But I don't think that we're gonna get up to like 1,100, 1,200 on the EGT range, unless I really hammer down on the throttle pedal, which I don't need to do, because the truck has so much torque. It has enough torque to where it can carry itself and gain speed when I just have my foot pressing the pedal like a quarter of the way. So we don't really need to get into it that much, but it is kind of neat to watch how the EGTs kind of fluctuate, even on like smaller grades and things like that. They bump up there a little bit, but when you're just cruising steady at 60 and just rolling up down little hills, whatnot, they stay right around like 6 to 750, which that's not bad. That's a good cruising temp. So now we just have, it's not really that steep of a hill right here, but it is a long one, and I don't see the EGTs really going up. We probably won't even gain that much boost off the turbo on this hill, because I literally don't even need to change my position on the throttle pedal. So we're riding at 10 PSI right now, and 700, and well, we're getting up there, 800, 780 right now on the EGT, and I don't see it really going any higher than that. Staying right at 60 the whole way up, and you can see the EGT gauge went up to about, I think it hit 800 for like a split second, and then went right back down to 780, and we're right back down to about 520 now. So right now we're literally just coasting down a super long hill. We're gonna ride through a valley for a second, and then we're gonna go straight back up another hill, which is the long one and a pretty steep one. It's as steep as this one we're going down right now, and it's about as long as this one too. And you can see with my foot off the throttle right now, the EGTs are riding at like 210, I'd say 200. Fuel pressure is up there at 17 psi. I gotta say, I'm really surprised at what my fuel pressure is riding at with the truck right now. I for sure thought that the fuel pressure was gonna be a hell of a lot lower than what it is, and it stays up there around 16, 17 psi. So I really can't complain about that, knowing that my lift pump, my Fast Platinum 150 on the truck, is still good. It's still in good enough shape to keep pumping out 16 to 17 psi, and even when I hammer down on the truck and get into the throttle, it doesn't really drop any lower. I think the lowest I've seen it go is 14 psi, so that's really nothing to complain about. It's good to know for when we do the new VP44 on the truck and get that all situated, that we don't have to do anything with the lift pump or look to get a new lift pump, because the one on the truck is good and it will pump enough fuel, an efficient amount of fuel, to the new VP44. Here we go. This is the last hill, the big one. So the EGTs are about 960 right now. We got about 18 pounds of boost. Fuel pressure is about 15 and a half. At the EGT gauge, about 18 and a half pounds of boost. Fuel pressure is not going to change probably. Trying to pick back up to get back up to 60. Just a slight increase in throttle, and I think touched 1100 on the EGT gauge for just a second. But otherwise, we're holding steady around 1060 for the EGTs. And we're at 19 pounds of boost. Coming to the top of the hill right now. We are there. As the boost starts to drop, let's see how long it takes the EGTs to get back down. They drop off pretty quick once you back off the throttle. One more tiny hill. And we gotta go to 45 miles an hour. Good old speed zone change. So there you have it. That's how the truck performs. That's what the gauges are telling me on my wonderful drive to and from work, with plenty of hills to test this truck out on and test these gauges on. Right now, I gotta whip in here and get some diesel. Now, I've traveled this road for the last 6 or 7 months to get to and from work and not had gauges in the truck to know what's been going on with my 2001 24 valve Cummins. And now that we have got the gauges installed, as we did this past Saturday, if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. It should be like 1 or 2 videos back on the channel. But now that we have them installed, we can actually see what traveling that road does with the truck. But more so, why I wanted to do this video was to give you guys a comparison between the tach, the speedometer, and the GlowShift gauges on the pillar here, so that you could see how the two compare and what the readings on the GlowShift gauges are when we're cruising at, say, certain speeds, or if we get into the truck a little bit and mush the throttle down just a touch, or when we are going up those steep hills, when we have 125 horsepower injectors in the truck with just a stock turbo. Now, obviously, when we get the HX35 Turbo situated and figured out, and we get that installed on the truck, we will do another type of video like this so that we can compare the two, because the HX35, for anyone who doesn't know, came on the 98.5 to 2002 24 valve trucks with a manual transmission, but they didn't put it on the automatic trucks because it does create a little bit more boost, in the automatic transmissions, as we all know, are weak points on these trucks. So the automatics were blessed with the tiny HY35, and unfortunately from the factory, this little turbo, this little guy can only push out 20 pounds of boost. That's what it's set at. Now you can get more boost out of the HY35. I know you can use an X hook or a J hook, or go to Home Depot or Lowe's and just get a turnbuckle and you can pin the wastegate shut and get more boost out of this turbo. But really, it's not, you're not going to gain that much more from it. You'd be better off just getting an HX35 with a bigger housing and stuff and playing with a boost elbow on that and messing with the wastegate on that turbo, which is exactly why I haven't done an X hook or a J hook or anything like that on the HY35, because I've known all along that I want to get that turbo off this truck and do something different with it. And really, when you go to bigger injectors, anything larger than stock, I mean, if you're going with like RV 275s, like 40 horse or like 80 horse injectors, you can get by with the stock turbo. But typically, if you're gonna be going 100, 120s, 125s, 150s, whatever the case may be, anything big like that, you definitely want to step your turbo up so that you can push more air through and burn that excess fuel. Otherwise, your EGTs are they're gonna just skyrocket, and it's not good. You'll be blowing rings and all sorts of shit. Your engine will not like you. It will absolutely hate you because it will just be running way too warm. But when I got the 125 horsepower injectors, I went ahead and installed them in the truck so that we could get content for the channel, and because I knew I could take it easy in my truck and I don't have to go hard on the skinny pedal, so I can keep the EGTs in check with how hard I get into the throttle. Knowing that I still have the HX35 here at the house and I'm gonna be putting that on the truck, whether I get it opened up and rebuild it and just leave it stock and put it on the truck, or still send it out, which is still a possibility. I'm not gonna go into that topic just yet, but it is still a possibility that that may happen, and it may just go on the truck built. But knowing that, I still put these injectors in, like I said, because I can control the EGTs with my foot. I don't have to romp on the truck or anything. You can still have fun with it, but you just can't stay in the throttle as long because your EGTs will get warm, and you do not want to go over 1200 and hold them there, because that's when you start to run into issues. You can get the truck up to 1200 on your exhaust gas temps, but you want to back off pretty quick and let it cool back off and just coast. Not to say you can't have fun with your truck, because you can, but you just can't have fun as long when you're getting into the throttle and stuff, unless you complement your bigger injectors with a bigger turbo to force more air through the system. And it helps with a cold air intake and an aftermarket intake horn, so you have less obstructions and you can just suck more air and push more air. And I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but basically, if you're doing mods to your truck, you want to make sure that you plan it out and you're thoughtful about it so that you can get corresponding mods and mods that will complement one another. We don't want to modify our trucks in a way that will hinder them. We want to modify our trucks in a way that will help them to perform better. And yes, bigger injectors will help them perform better, but there's other things that go along with those injectors. So right now we have one piece of the puzzle in my 24 valve, and we have other pieces that are going to be coming very soon. So I wanted to do this video so you guys could kind of see how things were working with my truck, and hopefully, you know, it'll help you guys in making decisions when you're going to finally make purchases for yours and get some modifications like injectors and turbo and things like that. You can kind of see what my setup is doing and then get a comparison of when we switch it up and what that setup is going to do, and just so you know how things kind of work, so that hopefully nobody makes a mistake by just throwing in bigger injectors or whatever and going with it and stuff, and then running into trouble down the line, or doing a bigger turbo but not bigger injectors and wondering why the bigger turbo isn't helping their truck. Things of that nature. So enough out of me for now. I hope you guys enjoy. If you do, be sure to hit that like button on your way out. If you're stopping in for the first time, new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, because we have plenty of stuff still to come with my 2001 24 valve Cummins. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.